let's take what the market's given us here. Everyone's saying they want TikTok Shop. All of our creators want it. All of our brands want it. Cool. Let's jump on in. Let's be one of the early ones to TikTok Shop and let's do it.
Awesome. We are back, and today we got a special guest. I got Mike Rama from Brandsmeetcreators. Nice to meet you. Welcome to the show.
What's going on, Eric? I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. I understand you are in Colombia. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. I am currently in Medellin.
That is wild. That is wild. I think that in today's age with the entrepreneurs, you could pretty much be anywhere where there's Wi-Fi and low taxes. What took you to Colombia?
So I was raised in the US, grew up in the US, worked in New York City for a few years, and then COVID hit. And that's when I decided to leave New York, leave the US, move to Mexico. And that's where I initially started Brandsmeetcreators. Kind of just jumped around Central America for a bit, landed in Colombia, loved it here. Incredible entrepreneur network. So lived here for a little while. I lived in Miami all last year, but just moved back here.
Wow, that's wild. That's wild. So there's a big expat scene down there?
Huge. Yeah, huge expat scene, entrepreneur network, just a great community overall.
Well, that's awesome. So I found out about Brandsmeetcreator about 3 or 4 months ago. I'm a current subscriber. I use your service. My clients love it. And so as soon as I found out how amazing it was, I wanted to get you onto the show because not only do I use it, other team leads where I work also use the service. And so we're bringing brands on constantly. And so I want to know, how did you come up with this idea? Like, where did this start? What were you doing that made you come to the genius idea that this was something people needed?
Yeah, so the platform itself actually started a few years back, well before TikTok Shop, right? Right now we have a huge focus on TikTok Shop. But the platform started back in 2021, 2022, basically like a UGC job board. Essentially what we were doing was connecting brands with content creators, but this was pre TikTok Shop days. And it was all around UGC. And then in I want to say late 2023. I might have my years off here, but late 2023, whenever TikTok Shop came onto the scene, basically what we saw in our community of creators, all of these UGC creators went from making $1,000 to $3,000 a month to TikTok Shop hits, and now we have people that they hit $100,000 in a month just being an affiliate. Of course, that's more on the extreme side, but that was something that was an impossible thing to do, was a UGC creator. So we have a lot of our creators, then they go from, making a couple $1,000s doing UGC to everyone sees the massive potential with TikTok Shop affiliate. All of our creators want to be TikTok Shop affiliates now. We see the same thing from the brand side. A lot of these brands that are just hiring UGC, they're like, what's this TikTok Shop thing? I want to get on TikTok Shop. And so we just decided, hey, let's take the UGC marketplace, let's take the UGC job board, and let's just point everything at TikTok Shop. We'll integrate it with TikTok Shop, and essentially build out what we had for UGC, but for the TikTok Shop component.
So you were kind of in the right place at the right time.
Exactly. Yeah, we had the
Yeah.
UGC community, we had the job board, and we saw the writing on the wall. And we just saw that it was way more lucrative for both sides of our marketplace, right? The creators and the brand. And so I said, hey, let's take what the market's given us here. Everyone's saying they want TikTok Shop. All of our creators want it. All of our brands want it. Cool. Let's jump on in. Let's be one of the early ones to TikTok Shop and let's do it.
That's smart. I work for an agency where we're experts in Amazon, and so we were at a conference 2 years ago, and we like to walk around and kind of get what people are talking about. Everybody was talking about TikTok, and there was a huge TikTok booth at the conference, Prosper. And so my CEO looked at it and says, "You guys need to learn TikTok." And all of us were a little bit kind of like a new marketplace. Kind of, we're all experts, been doing it for 10 years, so we decided to give it a try. I hated TikTok. It was the worst platform. I mean, Amazon kind of set the benchmark to how e-commerce should be done, and TikTok said, "That's nice, but we're going to do everything different." And so the learning curve and all that, how you had to get everything connected, it was just, they made it so much more difficult than it had to be. But you know what? That's job security. But speaking of being in the right place and starting at the right time, I started doing this about a year and a half ago, and TikTok Shop just had their second year anniversary in September. So both of us are incredibly early, and it's still changing super fast. But speaking about your platform, uh, I wanted to go ahead and share the screen and see if I could show people a little bit. I use the agency option here, but the thing I like about it is the ability to find creators. A lot of people might not be familiar with this, but you can scope here. You can sort by GMV. You can do it by creator level, gender, age, category, as well as when you go to invite them to a project, you have the ability to do usage rights, because I know that that is a big thing for a lot of people. I personally like to see the video before I ask for the usage rights, because not all videos are winners, as I'm sure you understand. But if you come up here and you sort this by, let's say, high to low, uh, I mean, honestly, for me, the way that I saw this platform was that because if I was to reach out to somebody making 377,000, it would be crickets. Like, I wouldn't hear anything. So this basically, you created a platform that connected people, like, or gave them a way to communicate with creators that actually that have big success in the space, and allows us to work together because the platform is inundated with messages and brands.
Yeah, and I'll just add one more thing. If you scroll back up to the top that you just had there, Eric, um, one thing I like to point out too that I think we do that's kind of quite unique from other platforms is I like to focus on very particular statistics, right? That
Okay.
GMV per video I think is super important, and I liken it to almost like a batting average. Yeah, so not on the filters, but if we're looking at Lee right there, Lee, the first place guy,
Yep. Yep.
Lee Black. So he did $450,000 in GMV last month. And so we can see on a per video basis, he did, 3,600 right there. So I know every time Lee posts, on average, he's making $3,600 per video. Now, again, that's an average. You can't expect that every single video, but it's like, again, it's a batting average. That's what I'm looking at here. And so I see Lee's batting average, and then I can see his rates. So it looks like we can hire Lee for about $100 a video. And so I know, all right, Lee makes 3,600 every time he posts. I can hire him for 100. That's a really good potential ROI, right? Now, of course, the
30x.
variable is
Yep.
exactly. And so that's what the estimated ROI right at the top.
Very
So
quick.
that's how
Yep.
we look. Yeah, that's how we look at this, right? It's like trying to build a lineup of creators where you're stacking the odds in your favor. You're putting the best batting average out there. Now, we can't guarantee that the creator is going to hit a home run every time, and of course, there's a lot of variables in play, right? Like what is your product, the price point, the sales velocity that you guys have. All of those things are kind of out of our control. But what we want to do here with this platform is allow you, as a brand or as an agency, to put the best lineup out there and to see all of the data going into it. And so I know, okay, you know what? I'm going to hire Lee for 10 videos. I see what his stats are. I know what he can do. Let's give him a shot with our product, right? And so how can you do that at scale as a brand or an agency? Having everything baked in, the payments, the tracking, everything integrated.
That was a really good point. I mean, 36 to 1. I mean, honestly, some people are overcharging. I hope he's not watching, but I think he's undercharging. I mean, that's a fantastic return right there. I totally agree. Let me ask you a question. Since you've seen thousands and thousands of products, what type of product, what price point do you think do the best, and which ones do the worst?
Great question. And I'm going to answer this question, but I'm also going to show the progress because things are changing on TikTok, right? It's not what it was last year. So my answer for like today and going forward is actually different than it was like the previous year. So when you think of TikTok Shop, the products that have done well historically, low price point, right? Impulse buy. I see it once, I'm like, oh, that's cool. Whatever. It's $24.99. I'll just buy it right now. I don't have to think twice about it. Typically, it's going to be something that's very visual because you can make better content with something that's visual. Typically, it solves a problem, solves a pain point. That's like your typical TikTok shop item. A lot of times, it's kind of like gimmicky stuff. Almost would work well. There used to be a big focus on stuff that you couldn't necessarily find in stores, right? It's something that you've seen and you're like, oh, I've never seen that before, right? If you see something on TikTok Shop and you're like, well, I can get that next time I'm in Walmart. I don't really have an incentive to buy it on TikTok. I know the shipping's going to be long. So that's how I would typically think about stuff that works well on TikTok Shop. However, we are now seeing a shift to higher price points. So what's really interesting, you look a year ago, all the top 10 items were somewhere priced between 9.99 and like 34.99, right? That was the top 100 list, was all in there. And it was a huge outlier if you weren't inside of this. You look at the top 10 from last month, and I believe 5 of the top 10 selling products were over $100. And so you're seeing this shift to higher price points. And I think there's multiple factors to this, but one of the big ones, I believe, is that TikTok is now moving to the GMV Max era. We're in the pay to play era. How do you make ads work? Well, you need a higher AOV, right? That's why on Meta you don't really see too many people selling, a $19 thing, right? They just can't get the economics to work unless it's a loss leader. So yeah, the stuff that's working now, the price points are a bit higher, right? I think the top 2 products were like, Ninja knife set, $199, right? You got like a vacuum for $150. You got these electric bikes for almost $1,000. So yeah, the dynamics are a bit different now, and I expect we'll only see that trend continue.
That's interesting. Yeah, because in the summer it was probably 5, 6 million, and now we're hitting like 12 million. And like you're saying, like Ninja is number one with the high AOV, and I thought that was pretty interesting. I got another question talking about where we are headed. So right now, I would say it's a creators market. The brands need the creators more than the creators need the brands. But I think that this is going to shift. I think this is going to shift with the AI creators, as well as I also believe that because right now I would say 90% of the brands are not profitable. I would say that the profitability is going to come with subscribe and saves, which they recently added, as well as I think AI creators is going to make it so that the creators are going to have to work a little bit harder for the brand's attention. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of different components in here that we can talk about. One of which being the AI component, because that's it's coming, right? I mean, it's already here and it's just happening faster and faster. And very soon we're gonna be at this point where it's like you actually can't tell the difference between a real video and an AI video, right? We're almost there. For a lot of people, they can't even tell. But we're getting close. And then it's, the question is, what does the platform look like when we're at that point? And so I still believe that creators will be very involved in that process, but the creator skill set and kind of like the objectives of a creator are a little bit different. It's almost like, creators go from the skill set is actually making the videos with the camera and everything to actually no, the skill set is, can you get attention? That's really what it comes down to, right? And there's going to be a different way to get attention. It might be, okay, I got to prompt this thing differently, and I have to know, what's going viral, how to hook someone in, right? It's still the same principles, but that might shift to now, instead of me actually going out and filming everything, the way I do it might be different. So I think it's just going to come down to, the marketing principles. Do you know how to capture someone's attention and then get them to take a next step, right? Click on the link, go buy the thing. So the way that creators do it, it might be different in the future, and people are just going to have to learn the new tools.
Yeah, I don't think that good creators will ever be replaced, but I do think that it is going to increase the bar of what's expected, and it's going to make it an even playing field. Because like right now, you got 8 figure, 9 figure brands that are kind of at the mercy of creators, and creators just kind of like they don't even respond, and then they're making like 200 million on Amazon, and they can't even get the attention of a lot of creators, which is it's a very interesting thing to see, which is it's pretty wild. So now I wanted to take this opportunity to ask you a question. So during my onboarding onto Brand Meets Creator, I was talking to Barry, and he told me a story. I think when you first started the platform, you wanted to see what you could do with all your creators, and you activated all your creators to grow a brand, and you took them from like 0 to 2 million in like 30 or 90 days. I could be butchering this, but something like that.
Oh, is this what you're talking about? Like a bunch of our case studies? It's this
Yeah.
is probably this is probably the skin body case study.
Okay.
Okay, so this was our, yeah. If we're on the same page with this, which I think we are, This was probably our first ever really big case study. I'll say March 2024, just when we're starting to get into TikTok Shop. This was well before this iteration of the platform, just when we were, starting to get things up and running. Exactly to your point. It's like, hey, this brand comes on board with us. Okay, how are we going to help them out? Cool. Let's just try to onboard as many creators as we can to this brand. And so that company, they didn't have any Amazon presence, didn't have anything, right? Like a brand new company. They went from 0 to $1 million a month in 8 weeks, which like
Wow.
we've never seen that type of size and scale. And again, it's getting harder and harder to do something like that because you just can't do that 100% organically right now, right? TikTok's going to force you to spend. That was pre GMV Max. That was all organic. And a lot of it was us and our network, but also it was the perfect product at the right time. So I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it was like a women's dermaplaning brand where you basically spray your face almost like a shaving cream type of thing. But for women, they have that like little like peach fuzz on their
Okay.
face that you can't see. That the typical eye can't see it. But when you spray this spray on it, it highlights all of it, so women can see all of their hairs. And so this fit the exact like viral style product that we looked for back in the day. Again, impulse buy, right? It was like $24.99. Something that's very, very visual, right? A woman spraying this white spray on her face, and then you can see all of her hairs. Just got virality written all over it. And then the third component that I talked about before, it's not something that you can just typically get in store, right? Someone's like, oh, I want to go buy that. It's like, oh, am I going to go, to like my Target? I'm probably not going to find that there. Okay, if I want this, I have to buy it right here on TikTok Shop. So it kind of checked all of those boxes, combined with, hey, we just put this in the hands of 3,000 creators and they all made videos for it. And that thing just went crazy. So I think that's the story that you're referencing that Barry mentioned with you.
Yeah, that's that's pretty crazy. Now, speaking of activating a lot of creators, there's a new program that Barry told me about that I wanted to get your take on it, which is the BMC Max. What made you come up with this, and what's your case studies with this? What's your experience, and how do you see this playing out?
Yeah, great question. So BMC Max is basically the next iteration of the platform. So right now you kind of have two tabs up. Very soon, this will actually be just another tab inside of the current platform. And essentially, what we wanted to do was help the brands or the agencies that they want this kind of service, right? They want to build this kind of like creator team. They want to get a bunch of videos out there, but they don't have the bandwidth to go in and hire creators one to one. Write their own briefs, be on top of these creators, like sending messages back and forth. Because if you do it the right way in the platform, you're going to need someone in there managing it, right? Someone that's, managing the samples with them, talking with the creators, right? Providing them some feedback because they don't, they want to get that feedback. If they're making you 30 videos and they're doing that every single month, you're going to want someone in there that's helping to guide some strategy. And so BMC Max was our way of rolling something out that's way more hands off, right? So if you're a brand and you're like, Mike, I need 1,000 videos going out this month. I don't have a full team that's going to be able to manage 100 different creators making 10 videos each and all this stuff. Can you guys just get me 1,000 videos? That's what BMC Max is. It's kind of the hands-off version where, hey, let us know what your budget is, and we're going to go out to our network. And basically, we are going to assign pre-approved rates to all of our creators based off of those stats that you saw earlier. So now instead of applying, rejecting, negotiating the price points, all of that back and forth, we notify our entire network and we say, hey, you're pre-approved for these rates. This brand just came on board. Do you want to do it or not? And if they want to do it, cool, they go right there. So that's the BMC Max concept. Now we just launched this, I think, about a month ago. And so, it's not even fully in the platform right now. They're kind of like two separate entities, but that's the next step for us is like this, what you're seeing right here, this campaign calculator will be inside the platform. You'll be able to just launch something right in there. If you're like, hey, we need to get something out quick. I need 500 videos for our Black Friday campaign. Boom, 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 launch BMC Max, and it's sent out to the whole network.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Let me go ahead and show everybody how to set it up roughly. So first of all, it's 15, 25, 50. To my understanding, I believe that this is over 90 days. Is that correct?
Yep. 90-day campaigns.
Yep. So basically it'd be 5K a month, but you do pay this up front, but essentially this would be over 90 days. Let's say we did the 50K. Now the next option would be open targeting or custom targeting. If we pick open, that means that it would be any GMV, correct? Yep. If we did.
Yes. Any GMV, but we do have a minimum 2,500 per month for the creators. So we don't just let any
25.
creator in there. We've kind of found that that's like a sweet spot where, there's creators that can, actually drive you some GMV. You don't want to just be wasting samples on someone who's, never driven a single dollar in GMV.
Couldn't say it better myself. So you have the option for open targeting or custom targeting. As you can see here, we're doing the 50K, and there's a video output, kind of gives you an idea of what to expect. And if you do custom targeting, it'll give you your GMV ranges, and you can go ahead and pick 3 of them. Now, if you pick the 100, the 50, and the 20, you'll notice that the quantity does go down. But if you were to take this and then just put this down here, you'll notice that you got more output here. And if you were to take this one and go down here like this, you would see that you continue to get more output. The other thing that you can do is allow creators the creative freedom to come up with their own brief, and it keeps the output here. But if you want to provide your own brief, it does reduce the number by a decent percentage. The other thing that I would point out also is creator interest. And I believe that this is a good question. What would you judge this by?
Yeah, so let me first explain kind of what this does and where we're going with this. I see this as like our first step at almost like a bidding mechanism, right? So for example, if you're a goalie and you want to post something on here, we're going to be able to get creators to post videos for goalie way easier and way cheaper than we are if you have a boring, plain old toothpaste company that has zero sales on TikTok Shop, right? One for one, I'm going to have to pay a creator way more to post for the boring product that has zero sales versus the super unique product that is crushing it on TikTok Shop. And so we need a way to kind of calibrate for that in our system. That's what we're using right here. It's going to be a little bit more dynamic in the future, but when we go through the onboarding process, we typically talk through this where we're like, hey, based on your product, we think we're going to have kind of a medium interest level. And so with that, what we need to do is we need to say, hey, if goalie's got a post on here and they're paying, I'm just going to make them a number, $300 for 10 videos, you're probably going to have to be paying $500 for 10 videos because the creators know they're less likely to get sales on yours because there's no traction. So it's almost like a bidding mechanism. Where we want to go with this is almost if you think about like the Meta ads dashboard or the TikTok ads dashboard, where you basically say, hey, here's my budget, here's kind of my targeting, here's what I want. And then you can almost think of it like for GMV Max, right? You set your target ROI. And someone like a goalie, again, they might be able to set a higher target ROI. But someone who's a brand new, right? You're still in the cold start phase. You probably can't set that high. So that's how I would think about this section here.
Yeah, that's interesting. Goalie is in a league of their own. They are wild. I mean, if you look at the Mary Ruths and the goalies, and you look how much videos, I mean, it was 20, 30,000 a couple months ago. I see numbers as high as 60 to 80,000 pieces of content a month. Like just crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And
Just to
that
finish.
and real quick, you just said something super important because that's something that we noticed as well. Maybe I'll share a slide in a second here that I think can help. Let me find it here. But we essentially found that there's a huge correlation between the number of videos that brands are getting out every single month and their GMV. Like when it comes down to it, I feel like that's probably the most important stat. I'm going to share my screen. I had someone on my team go and just scrape the data for 200 TikTok shops. And I believe this is August data. So like two months old. We'll probably update this on a continual basis. We have monthly GMV on the x-axis here and number of monthly affiliate videos on the y-axis here. And, plot the trend line, super high correlation, 0.74 between your monthly GMV and the number of affiliate videos that are going out every single month. You can see here pretty much across the board. If you are down here in this like bottom quadrant where all these shops are grouped together, there's not many that are stuck in this low range that are producing, over 1,000 videos per month, right? If you're under 1,000 videos per month, you're pretty much stuck in here. But once you get out over to this, 2 million a month range, pretty much everyone's producing 5,000 plus videos. It just shows a super strong correlation between you want more GMV. Guess what? The number one thing you can do, get more videos. And that's kind of the game that everyone's playing right now, right? We use goalie as an example. We use Mary Ruth's. They're all playing this game of how do I get the attention of the affiliate, right? How do I create these reward campaigns, amazing incentives? How can I be the top brand? How can I continue to attract the attention of the affiliate so I can get more videos out there every single month?
Yeah, it's definitely a game of more. And I think it's safe to say that it's quantity over quality. I think that the best video that I've had created working for any brand that I've been in the last year and a half was done by somebody with 1,500 followers. She was making a video for a toy, and it just happened to light up. And she had the genius idea to turn off the lights, and the video just came out fantastic. And we sold 400 units in 30 minutes. And you know what? It's luck. You know, it's a lot of luck. But she's not the biggest creator. She only had 1,500 followers. Honestly, it's quantity over quality. But also, it takes a little bit of ingenuity, a little bit of creativity, and that's why AI will never replace creators because, like, you can't program that. That's not programmable. You can make the mouth move and make it follow like hooks from Calo data and stuff, but you can't make the toy light up in a bathtub and actually create that authentic, real experience. So I do think there will be a long time to come, but I do think that 50% of maybe the lower level creators, I think that they might not get the easy money next year.
Yep. And you mentioned something super important there. I want to share another statistic that I find is very, very helpful for people. So oftentimes the videos that go crazy viral aren't always the ones that you would expect. And what really happens in these campaigns and just TikTok shop in general is you have this crazy Pareto principle, right? Where it's like the top 1% of videos get all of the returns. And to your point, it's like it's a bit of luck where you're just like, I'm gonna roll the dice time and time again. I make the analogy to like lottery tickets, right? It's like every video is a lottery ticket. So here's the stats of a campaign we did with Dr. Malaxin. We made them 4.7 thousand videos, 1.1 million in GMV, and the top 5 videos drove 691,000 in GMV. Right, the
Wow.
top 0.01 did 62% of the GMV. The top 1% did 95% of the GMV. And so that's something that you as a brand have to know going into it is you have this crazy distribution curve where your top, several videos are going to drive all of the returns. And you're right, a lot of that it's a lot of it is luck. And it's just like you got to put volume out there to find those winners. That's really what it's about at the end of the day.
It's funny though, if you didn't create 4,700 videos, you wouldn't have gotten those five.
Exactly, right? And you're only going to find those 5 because you put the volume out there. You're
Yeah,
spot on.
it's definitely a volume play. One thing I did want to show uh, on that screen with the BMC Max that I didn't get to cover. Let me just show it to you real quick. This thing right here, I think is pretty informative. But if you look right here in the small, you can see the average cost per video. I find that to be a pretty good KPI right there, a good thing to think with. And doing the volume play, getting this many pieces. I mean, out of curiosity, how did you guys? What did it take to get to 4,600 pieces of content?
Several months and just continuing to get the product in front of our content creators. Again, it's a lot of TikTok is getting the flywheel going, and so Dr. Malaxin, right? They're a huge brand, and once you start getting a couple viral videos out there, it gets easier because creators see that they can make money through that product, right? So we had several of our creators go crazy viral with Dr. Malaxin, make tens of thousands of dollars, and then it's a pretty easy feedback loop where we just send that to the rest of our network, right? We have a massive email list. We go, hey, so and so just made this video. She just made $37,000. You guys should try to make this too, right? And it creates this awesome feedback loop. And a lot of brands struggle because they never get that, right? They never get that part of the feedback loop. They get stuck in the, well, you have zero sales. Why should I bother to promote you? And then the feedback loop's going the other way. Then you got to pay creators more. The creators, they're not that happy because they're not making any sales, right? And these creators, they don't make a ton of money in these like flat fee components that we layer on. That's just kind of enough to get them to start doing it, right? Because they're looking at your brand that has no sales, and they're looking at goalie, and they're like, well, I'm just going to promote goalie all day. Well, would you promote this brand if we paid you $30 every time for every single video and you get your commissions? Maybe, but there's only so long they'll do that if the product's not selling. So yeah, to answer your question about Dr. Malax, and the flywheel started spinning. You get viral videos, and when you get viral videos, people get more excited because they see They see your brand as a vehicle for them making more commission. So it's super important to get that going. And once you find something that works, you find something that cracks the code, you got to share that out with all the other creators so they know what's working, one. And two, it's like a case study. It's like inspiration for them, right? Someone, they have to see it done before it can happen to themselves, right? If they see so and so that they know personally that just made $50,000 with your product, okay, now they believe they can do it too, and they're willing to make more videos, even if they're not making commissions right away.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I you send out a sample, they make a video, it either gets a sale or it doesn't. If it doesn't, they feel like maybe they just don't resonate with that brand or that audience. But if they do get a sale, they say maybe I do resonate, and maybe I'll make a second video. And what my team does is as soon as they cross a certain threshold, is that I get them into a group so I can start to work with them, engage with them, training, games, things of that nature. And as soon as you show that little care factor and kind of invite them into that group, it makes them try a little bit harder. And every subsequent video that they make after the first just gets better and better. And if somebody gets a viral video, that video gets copied and sliced up and made unique, and it converts probably for 20 or 30 iterations of the same video. And I think it's a pretty wild game. I will say I'll give a shout out to one case study that I've been working with. Been working with a toy brand, been working for about a year, and we just got up to about 300,000 a month. And the beautiful thing about this is that we did it with no advertising, which is wild. It's the group and the virality of the content that's driving it, which is fantastic. And this group is amazing. They're going on each other's videos, they're commenting, they're liking, they're sharing, and it's just an amazing thing to be a part of. And when it all comes together like that, when you got great creators that are working together for the benefit of the brand and the creators, I mean, it's a win-win, and that's when TikTok is fun.
Yeah, it's really cool when you can get that dynamic and you get the flywheel spinning. One thing I'll add too that you mentioned earlier about getting the creators, they request a sample, they post once. If they hit some GMV, then they're more likely to post more. One other component of that too is if it's a product that's new, that's unproven, creators will request a sample. They'll post, and if they don't drive any GMV, a lot of times what they'll think is it's not me, it's not my video, it's this product. The product's not good, right? And we talked about this in the beginning. There's an abundance out there for creators. There's thousands of products they can promote. So they get your product, they make a couple videos, whatever. This product sucks, right? This product's not going to work for me. But when you have a product like the one you mentioned, or the goalies of the world, or the Dr. Malaxins, that they're already crazy viral, there's no creator that's going to make a video for goalie and go, you know what, it's the product, because there's so much proof out there that the product works, and they're more likely to post more. So yeah, it's super important to get the flywheel going. And that's just it's the hardest part, right? TikTok calls it the cold start phase. It's getting harder to break out of it, but once you do, just like you mentioned, it starts getting fun.
Absolutely. I'm gonna since you mentioned goalie, I'm just gonna show you one funny. It's funny to me, but some people or some brands, like specifically goalie, they take what they do for brands to the next level. And here's an example of rewarding creators based on GMV that most brands just cannot keep up with. So you got the $1,500 you get in the iPad, you get the iPhone. Here you get the trip to Bermuda or Aruba. Here you're getting the Rolex. Here you're getting the Ford Bronco. Up here you're getting the Cybertruck, the Porsche. Over here, you're getting the Lamborghini, and then all the way down here, you're even getting a condo in Miami. And this is just taking creator incentive to a whole nother level. I don't know if they're still doing this campaign. Or I think this is some. I think this is older, but I do think that this is pretty wild when you see stuff like this. And this is what makes it harder for the little guys to compete at things like this.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, what this is, it's a campaign geared towards affiliate. Because of what I talked about earlier, the name of the game is volume, right? So these guys and all the big players, they look at it and they go, how can I get more videos out there at scale? And yes, you can, use platforms like us. You can use some of the outreach bots. You can use agencies, but at the end of the day, a lot of that's very one to one, very manual. I'm going to hire this creator. I'm going to do this. And so what they're trying to do there is, can I just attract? Can I just like set something up and get it shared out. Where like, cool, now we have 3,000 new affiliates coming in next month. And so, yeah, those reward campaigns are super common. I bet we continue to see the evolution of that. I don't know what the future of that looks like, but I can almost guarantee the essence is the same, right? As a brand, how can I do some cool, unique, outside the box things? So now I am attracting all of this affiliate talent. I like to say that there's two games being played out there. The smaller brands, they're playing the game of how do I get the attention of the consumers? How do I sell products? The bigger guys, they're playing the game. How do I get the attention of the affiliates? Because the affiliates will then go get the attention of the consumers. And so the big guys, that's what they're trying to do. They're building how many people can I get in my Discord? How many affiliates can I bring in?
Absolutely. The name of the game is Discord. How many people can you get in your Discord? Absolutely, absolutely. Well, cool, man. I appreciate you taking the time. I think you shared a lot of good information. I'll put a plug for your website as well as. Is there anything you would like to say or share before we end the show?
No, that's it. I appreciate you having me on, Eric. We'll have to do this again in a couple months. This was a great chat, and yeah, I mean, I think it's still a great time to get on TikTok Shop. It's getting it'll get harder and harder every single month, but I still think it's one of the best places to be.
100%. 100%. Well, thank you very much, Mike. Thank you for watching. I am a team lead at Bullseye Sellers. I've been in the Amazon and TikTok space for over 10 years, and I've worked with over 100 brands, helping them generate over 100 million in sales. On this channel, I'm going to share real strategies and growth hacks to help you scale your Amazon brand and TikTok shop. If you would like help, please book a free strategy call with our team. A calendar link will be in the description. As well as, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.